What's going on, everyone? My name is Max, and we are back for some more 17. If this is your thing, hit that subscribe button. If you want to watch my entire reaction to this interview, you can also head over to my Patreon page. I've included it uncut there as well. Without further ado, looking forward to checking out some more 17 today.
세븐틴! 안녕하세요, 세븐틴입니다.
네, 세븐틴이 정규 앨범 Face the Sun.
That's actually cool when they do the introduction and there's 13 of them all saying 17 at the same time. That's cool.
드리게 되었습니다.
네, 팬분들이 남겨주신 질문에 저희가 직접 대답을 해드리는 시간인데요. 지금 바로 시작하겠습니다.
Who is that? Was he in the last interview? HS, they're saying? Who's that? Is that Hoshi?
지금 바로 시작하겠습니다.
아이디가 되게
네,
You can tell that's Joshua right in the middle, and I think that's Vernon to the right of him. Joshua, again, he's got that presence, right? He's got that magnetism. And I think that's something we can take away from Joshua right away. I'm drawn to him, and it's his eye contact. When we're listening to someone, we're speaking to someone, when we can make genuine, sincere, consistent eye contact with someone, it goes a long way in terms of how people perceive us, in terms of our confidence, but also in terms of our desire to be in that social situation as well. So we're seeing that from Joshua.
신기방기 프리지.
아, 네.
And Scoops kind of looks like a nonchalant leader. You know, he's a leader, he's active, he's engaged, but his presence, like he's not rigid. He's kind of just relaxed with his presence. He kind of has this carefree, easygoing demeanor, although mentally he does seem like he's very engaged and actively listening to all the guys because he's like ready to contribute at any point.
이길승 발길철.
아, 이길승자신가요?
네,
저도
이길승이에요.
이길승자.
아,
그래서 성격이 센가 봐. 그런가 보다.
그런가 봐.
진짜 순간 진짜.
I like how Sungkwan communicates. I think he was pointing to Scoops, but when he was talking to him, he extended his arm, right? As like another way to say, hey, I'm speaking to you.
발길철.
아, 이길승자신가요?
네,
저도
이길승이에요.
이길승.
Sungkwan seems to really be very expressive when he speaks. And when he speaks to you, it's almost like it's known that he's speaking to you. He's direct.
변화된 점은 확실히 음악적으로나 뭐 비주얼적인 거나 모든 면에서 성장했다는 게 좀 변화된 점인 것 같고
그렇죠.
그때보다 확실히 앨범에 대한 몰입도가 조금
So Scoops, I think he did a good job there, sort of articulating his point, did it in a very relaxed way. It's difficult, right? Because you've got 13 different personalities, and that means all these extra people listening to you when you do speak. As Scoops was speaking there, I could almost like feel that other people wanted to chime in and speak, although they did a good job listening to him.
17살에 날아왔는다면 도망가! 나이스! 지금밖에 없어! 야, 지금이 그때야! 조회수 오른다! 조회수 오른다! 가버려! 야, 이거 하이라이트다!
You see V8, kind of look at V8. That's his name. I'm really calling him V8. See him looking at Sungkwan there when Sungkwan stood up, right? Sungkwan, I feel like he's the energy of the group in a lot of ways. It feels like, looks like that's June on the left. Funny that he's next to Sungkwan. That's quite the contrast, the two of them there.
도망가가 정말 도망가라고 말하고 싶어서 진짜 도망가예요. 뭐 다른 뜻 없고 그냥 그거예요.
Sungkwan's really stealing the show here.
TMI로 하나요?
TMI로 갈까요?
네네, 어떤-
TMI.
오늘의 TMI.
오늘의 TMI.
네네.
오늘의 TMI. 오케이, 저는 키토 김밥을 시켜놓고
네. 딴 걸 먹었어요?
아니요, 안 먹었어요 아직.
아.
네, 그래서 촬영 끝나고 먹을 예정입니다.
그럼 혹시 최근에 구입한 아이템은?
최근에 구입한 아이템.
네.
ITM, TMI.
최근에 구입
I like the way Vernon is very clear with his pronunciation.
키토 김밥을
His tone is very engaging, right? He goes up and down with his pitch patterns.
오늘의 TMI.
네네.
And I find when people do that, oftentimes it's a way to bring us in.
최근에 구입한 아이템.
뭐 신발이든 옷이든 뭐.
저 최근에 그쵸 신발을 샀어요.
I think that's Hoshi to the right of him. He noticed Vernon was thinking about what to answer. And so then Hoshi, what he did there was he asked a specific question to help clarify his thought.
뭐 신발이든 옷이든 뭐.
So that's actually a communication tip that we can pull away from this. So there's specific questions that we can ask to further facilitate the conversation to make it more interesting, but also like Hoshi's doing for Vernon here, helping him answer the question.
저 최근에 그쵸 신발을 샀어요 하나.
어떤?
And again, he
제가
keeps on
저희
going.
그 하나비 팬미팅에서 그 두 번째 날에 신었던 신발이
아, 그 신발이군요.
네 제가 그 현지에서 사서
아.
예, 그 자리에서 바로 신었던 신발입니다. 예.
I have to say, I think it's Hoshi. I'm hoping that's him, okay? I'm hoping that's him. Hoshi did an excellent job there having that one-on-one conversation with Vernon. Almost like he could be an interviewer. Did a great job, engaged him directly, asked him follow-up questions, asked him specific questions to help move the conversation along. But he also acknowledged Vernon's answer. So when Vernon said something, you heard Hoshi say, oh, interesting.
사서
아.
예, 그 자리에서
Right now, he's my number one communicator in 17.
하나비 팬미팅에서 그 두 번째 날에 신었던 신발이
아, 그 신발이군요.
네 제가
Ah, those shoes. So he paraphrased and repeated what Vernon said
두 번째 날에 신었던 신발이
아, 그 신발이군요.
네 제가
to acknowledge that he's listening to him. Right? These are all things we can take away here. When someone answers a question, instead of moving on to the next question immediately, it's important to acknowledge the last thing that they said. So Hoshi doing that, showing us some good communication skills that we can take out of this. I'm loving this.
회사랑 같이 상의를 하고 난 다음에 이 내면까지 한번 보여주고 그다음에 세븐틴의 뭔가 성장을 더 보여주자라는 얘기를 하게 되면서 이제 이 주제를 하게 된 것 같아요.
Wonwoo, he doesn't seem like the guy who's going to start the mischief as much, right? Like he just seems like a pretty serious guy. From what I've seen.
더 이상 세븐틴이 아니라는 말을 해야 한다고 들었을 때 무슨 생각이 먼저 들었나요? 역시 충격이었을까요? 그리고 각자 개인 트레일러 영상을 찍은 후기들이 궁금해요.
So they're splitting up? What's the deal? They're supposed to be like disbanding or something like that? I'm just sort of catching on to that now.
그 가까운 멤버들만 느낄 수 있는 그 정한이 장난치기 직전의 그 얼굴이 뭔지 알아요?
아
그 얼굴이 영상에 I'm not 17 anymore 말하는데 그 얼굴에 그 장난기 가득한 얼굴이 가득해.
약간 좀 개슴츠레해지는.
약간 그 약간 요 이상한 그 표정이 있어.
And Scoops did a good job there, right? I always give people tips when they're public speaking or having a conversation in a group to make sure to try to engage both sides and all parties within the group that you're speaking to for a more engaging conversation, and your message will be received a lot better, and it'll be easier for people to tune in and listen to you when you do that. So I think Scoop's showing some good public speaking skills here.
난 그거 바로 보자마자 형 이거
아니야?
합성 아니야?
여기 거의 둘다 거짓말하고 있어.
난 진짜 말했는데. 나 진짜인가? 이제 진짜인가 합성인가 이제.
Hoshi's got some real social skills. He really does. And he might not be like the loudest in the group. And that doesn't necessarily mean you're the most social when you're the loudest. I gotta say, Hoshi's really standing out. He really listens to the other guys, it feels like, and knows how to effectively engage them because he shows his genuine curiosity and he shows that he cares.
마지막 장면이 크로마키고 그거는 이제 그 통로 하나에서 계속 이렇게 헤매는 듯한.
야, 근데
통로가 하나인데 헤맸구나.
그쵸. 앞으로 가면서 뒤로 가면서 헤매고, 뒤로 가면서 앞으로 가면서 헤매고, 옆으로 가면서 헤매고.
어디로 가는지
앉아서 헤매고.
네.
자, 준 씨 얘기해 주세요.
Sun Quan's a jokester, man. He's a jokester. He's looking for a fight. I like DK's energy. He doesn't initiate. It doesn't seem like as much as Sun Quan, but he'll joke around just as easily, it feels like.
만 봐도 다야 역세급 다야인데 이번 정규 4집 5가지 컨셉 중 본인과 가장 잘 어울린다고 생각하는 컨셉이 무엇일까요?
June, really projecting his voice here by the way June sort of carries himself, and he hasn't said much. You'd almost imagine that he'd speak very softly, but really projecting his voice. And it's interesting watching Joshua as well, because Joshua, he's quiet, doesn't say much, but he's extremely present in the conversation, and he seems to be someone who's very confident. Again, you don't need to say much to project or present as confident. It's just in the way Joshua sits and makes eye contact with everyone, you can tell he's very engaged or seeming to be very engaged in the conversation without actually saying anything.
불 지는 거 그거 제일 좋았어요.
맞아. 세 번째다.
촬영할 때도 되게 약간 재밌어서 불 지우면서 이렇게 하는 거 해본 적이 없어서 그래서 좀 마음 드는 것 같습니다.
Interesting group of personalities here, guys. Sungkwan for sure is an extrovert. I'd say Mingyu's probably an extrovert. Scoops probably more on the extroverted side. Hoshi's maybe in between a little. Vernon maybe in between, maybe a little on the quieter side. Uzi and Joshua a little on the quieter side. The 8 maybe a little on the quieter side. Okay, so now that we're going down the list, DK maybe a little bit more of an extrovert. The guy in the blue cardigan maybe a little bit more of an extrovert. Maybe it's a little bit of a mix. When you really break it down, Wonwoo can go either way, maybe a little on the quieter side, in my opinion. An interesting group of guys.
있는데 잘 그 들리게 녹음을 하셨더라고요. 그리고 그 파트가 되게 매력적이게.
내가 해석해볼게. 제가 해석해볼게.
See, this is when it gets crazy, right? Like someone says something, someone makes a joke, they make fun of DK, and there's like 6 or 7 of them talking. It's like, that's when it gets crazy.
해석해볼게. 제가 해석해볼게요.
해주세요.
자, 그러니까 딕션은 흘리지만 전달력은 좋은.
그렇지.
But you see what Vernon did there. He had to like sort of stop everyone from talking, and you see what he did to stop everyone. You really have to like put yourself out there in order to get your point across sometimes, because there's so many of them. You see June looking at Vernon here with some admiration.
제가 해석해볼게요.
해주세요.
자, 그러니까 딕션은 흘리지만 전달력은 좋은.
그렇지. 그거지. 야, 아주 같이 살더니 아주.
엮이시네요.
네, 그래서 그 파트가 안무도 제일 좋고, 파트도 좋습니다.
킬링 파트.
네, 킬링 파트.
감사합니다.
네.
The guys like to make fun of DK, huh? And I feel like DK likes being made fun of, it seems like, which kind of makes it fun to be around him. Right? He kind of puts himself out there. He's okay messing up. You know, he's not concerned with messing up his words because he knows the guys will make fun of him, and it's almost like he kind of likes when the guys make fun of him. It feels like for DK, that's his way of bonding with these guys, is through making fun of each other and joking around.
자기 자신을 믿었으면 좋겠어요. 그리고 좀 실현하지 못하는 그런 것들이 있잖아요. 머리 뒤쪽에 있는 뭐 그런 것들을 좀 더 실현하고 도전해봤으면 좋겠어요.
진짜 우리 멤버들 위로해주는 것처럼 진짜 말하듯이 해주면 안 돼요? 한마디만?
Joshua doesn't even have a second to finish, and Sungkwan's already on him. I like what Joshua did. I like how at the beginning he took his time there.
자기 자신을 믿었으면 좋겠어요.
He didn't feel like he needed to rush through his part. A sign again that he's okay with being in the spotlight. He feels very comfortable and okay with being seen.
가사 그것도 가사.
어떤 의미죠?
이거 의미 없고 의미 뭐예요?
의미 있나요?
그렇죠. 의미 없고 그냥 그 모습 그리고 그 feel 그냥 하는 것 같아요.
좋아요.
T8 seems cool. I like T8, and I notice he like really does listen to the other guys as well. And
의미 뭐예요?
he sort of reminds me a little bit of Hoshi in terms of his ability to observe others. I feel like he's got some low-key good communication skills that I haven't seen yet, but I certainly like his vibe and the way he interacts with everyone.
소통하게 되어서 매우 기쁘게 생각하고요. 저희 Face the Sun도 많은 관심과 사랑 부탁드릴게요. 네, 지금까지 세븐틴이었습니다. 네,
세븐틴 감사합니다.
안녕. 눈물고.
Wow, this is clearly by far the most idols I've reacted to at one time. Definitely like them. If there's some other videos you recommend, please do let me know. Guys, if you want to watch my uncut reaction, all you need to do is go to my Patreon page. I've also included my uncut reaction to my very first reaction to 17, which was right before this. And you can check that out there too. Other than that, my name is Max. I will catch you soon. Peace.